Hi everybody, I'm Sergi Kilembi and thanks for joining me for the weekly US market reports. Time to trade the markets, the week ahead, and perspectives and analysis. And this is for the trading week beginning on Monday, November the 6th until Friday, November the 10th. We're going to be focusing on the economic calendar. We're going to take a look at the earnings week. Also going to have a look at some news, what's happening in the market and all around the world. And next we're going to have a look at S&P 500 sectors map. Next we're going to do some technical analysis and price action. And also in this particular episode and in this particular broadcast, I'm going to be adding the crypto report. So we're going to also take a deep look into cryptocurrencies because there's a lot going on there. Okay. So now let's begin. And also you already know that you can have a look at my services here on my website www.jctrim.com/solution English by clicking here on the English banner over here, English flag for you English speaking people. Okay, so now let's begin and let's dive right into it. First of all, let's have a look over here at the economic calendar and let's bring on the most important data release. What do we have? Excuse me, over here. News of great impact. Of bigger impact, excuse me. Okay, that's it. On Monday, November the 6th, what do we have? We have in the Indonesia GDP growth rate year over on year Q3. Next in Canada, what do we have? We have the IV PMI S.A for October. Tuesday, November the 7th of 2017. What do we have in Australia? The Reserve Bank of Australia interest rate decision. And next on Wednesday, November the 8th, 2017, in China, we have the balance of trade of October. You see over here, still in a surplus, so you already know what it means for you guys trading the Chinese yuan. Over here, exports year on year for October and imports year on year of October. And then back in the European Union, in the EU, we have the ECB non-monetary policy meeting. Okay, and that's it for economic calendar, most important data release. And next, let's move on. Let's move into earnings back in the US. Let's see what's happening over here as far the earning season is concerned. And let's bring on the most important early earnings release. Earnings publications for the week beginning on Monday, November the 6th until Friday, November the 10th. And over here, what do we got? We got Actinium Pharmaceuticals and Regional Management, and most importantly, we have NVIDIA reporting earnings for the Q3. Next, we're gonna have Home Depot, Cisco Systems, and stuff like that, Walmart, the HPs, and stuff like that coming in November, lately in November. So first of all, that's what we have now, and now that's it for the earnings. Now let's have a look at stock market. But first of all, let's see major news because there's a lot going on. And what do we have beginning from here, from November the 3rd? What do we have? You see over here the cost for the hurricanes and stuff like that. Over here you see Goldman Sachs. Oh yeah, I saw a video about the CEO of Goldman Sachs, Mr. Lord Blankfein, talking about starting his Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies trading operation. He has a lot of concerns about cryptocurrencies. He's not bashing cryptocurrencies. Nor the exact word was he wasn't poo-pooed on cryptocurrencies, but let's say it's open to it. Okay, so now over here, Wells Fargo, no, stuff more important. Oh yeah, also I can tell you about Tesla, issues with the Model 3, about the Fed, the Federal Reserve. We saw a name over here. In his own words, what new Fed Chief Nominee Powell on the economy, tax reform, and monetary policy. So Mr. Powell will be the next Fed chair in February of 2018. Over here, what do we have? We have Apple beating expectations, great earnings, great products, the launch of the iPhone X also. You see a lot of concerns about the Facebook recognition app and stuff like that. People trying to cheat that particular security measure featured in the iPhone X, and so that's great. So we're gonna see the great impact of that particular product on the Q4 at the beginning of 2018. And also, what else do we got? Well, remember Jeff Bezos now being the richest man on the planet by thanks to the share prices of Amazon stock rising above $1,100 and making him the richest man on earth. And over here you see Jeff Bezos selling 1.1 billion Amazon shares with stock at record high and stuff like that. And next, what do we have? We have a lot of news now. You see also in Saudi Arabia the arrestment of 11 princes, and one of them being the mighty investor, richest man in the region, the Prince Al-Walid bin Talal Al Saud, being arrested. He is heavily invested in companies like Apple, Citigroup, and stuff like that. And the case was corruption. And next, what do we have also? T-Mobile and Sprint. I don't know if I can find that particular news over here. T-Mobile and Sprint. The mergers talk over here you see T-Mobile and Sprint and merger talk. So that's it for that particular opportunity and M&A activity that's done. And yeah, I already mentioned Tesla and the Bank of England also, for those of you guys who are trading the sterling pounds. The BOE raised interest rates. And now what do we have also? We have, yes, Bitcoin above 7,000 US dollar. And now we have the CME and the CBOE. But first of all, the CME talking about launching a derivatives or futures contract for Bitcoin. So now we can say that Bitcoin is entering Wall Street. Okay. And over here you see all the news about the Saudi prince, about those detained in corruption purge and stuff like that. Al-Walid, Saudi purge, richest victim as assets across globe are frozen and stuff like that. So that's huge. You see over here, the arrest of Al-Walid bin Talal touches many, including Citigroup, 21st Century Fox, and Twitter, and Apple, and stuff like that. But for Apple, I think that there's no problem because Apple is doing very, very great. Okay, so that's it for the news. And now let's have a look at the S&P 500 sectors map on the weekly time frame. And what do we have? You see Apple, great week. You see overall the market at all-time highs, not doing so much, but that's individual plays over here. You see Apple, great week for Apple. Financial is 50-50, technology 50-50. You see services, it's 60% in green. And great week over here you see for charter communications and basic materials, oil also booming, rising, but now here it's 50-50. Healthcare 50-50. Utilities, that's a 80% in green. Industrial goods, that's a 50-50. You see GE having a lot of problems. You see that's the worst performing Dow component. And so that's it. That's a bad news for GE. But the company is well diversified more across the globe and across so many industries. But the company is gonna do well in the future. I hope so for them. So let's see what the management does for GE. And now back at consumer goods, you already know, great week for Apple, and that's it. Now Apple rising and going towards the $175 per share. Okay, so that's it over here. Now let's move on and let's take a look at ETFs. And you see all the markets all-time highs, everything in green, the inverted in red. So that's it. You see large cap green or flat week, mid cap flat week, but bad week for small caps. Also, you see that a fixed income is flat, but tending towards the green side, so going up a little bit. And fixed income for the corporate bonds is flat. And all the sectors, healthcare, you see over here, energy in green, financials in red, utilities, consumer utilities over here, and consumer non-cyclicals flat, technology in green, real estate in green, consumer cyclicals in red, industrials in red, and basic materials also in red. Next, international, everything's looking fine, great. Emerging markets, developed markets, Europe, Asian Pacific, Japan, Latin America, Russia in red, Latin America in red, Brazil in red, China is flat, India green, and over here ex-US are also flat. Global miners, that's a flat week, 50-50, but almost tending towards the red side, so bad week, bad performance. You see tech over here, and let's have a look at hack. You see hack is going down for the week, but a lot of cyber criminality and a lot of hacking, a lot of fraud taking place with the crypto space, and a lot of cases. If you go to cryptocurrency news, you're gonna read a lot of articles. Articles are talking about frauds and stuff like that within the crypto space environment. And next, what do we have? Commodities. You see oil in green, or it's going up, and over here gold and silver being smashed and going down for the week. They were flat. Okay, so that's it for the ETFs. And now let's do some technical analysis. First of all, for the stock market, and next we're gonna have a look at the cryptos. First of all, the crypto ranking and crypto maps to see the market capitalization, and next we're gonna come back and do some technical analysis for technical analysis and price action for some cryptos. Okay, so now let's begin. Let's wait. Let's wait for my presets. Okay, that's it. Okay. Okay, wait a second, please. Hold on. Okay, perfect. So now let's begin. Into the Dow Jones Industrial Average. First of all, let's see. What do we have over here? Okay, Dow Jones. You see still bullish, but bullish week, still above the 4 weeks moving average now at 23,500 points, and that's it. But now I think that it's time to see some sideways movements in order to interact with the 4 weeks moving average. It seems to me that now if we take a closer look, you see that we have a lot of volatility, a lot of spreads between the 4 weeks moving average, 8 weeks moving average, and 13 weeks moving average. So that's huge amount and space over here. That's more than 1,000 points of 1,000 points of volatility. And over here, if you take a look, the last resistance, now support, we have support around 2,225 points. So that's a lot of points. Yeah, you see more than 1,300 points. So that's a lot. Okay, so you have to take that into consideration, and so be cautious. So now you see less volume, and earnings season, the big players, the big names already published. So now I think that we're gonna see some kind of sideways movements now, and if we can go higher, but let it be, and let's say we can reach and touch and flirt with the 23,600 points. Okay, so that's it for the Dow Jones. Now let's move on. Let's see what's happening with the Nasdaq 100 over here, NDX. and Nasdaq 100. You see exactly the same thing, but the Nasdaq being in better shape, more powerful movements over here, great impact, great companies, great earnings, Apple and stuff like that. You see over here, boom, Nasdaq 100 booming, now at 62.95, closer to 9,300 points. And that's it. If we have a continuation, maybe the Nasdaq 100 can be the leader, and we can see much more movements towards the upside. You see over here at the channel, you see that's uptrending channel over here. As you can see, we are at channel's resistance. You see, far away for very far away from the 4 weeks moving average. Too much extension. We need some kind of interaction. So now let's see what's happening in the future. So now we remain bullish, but you see, even after a strong bullish candles, stuffs can happen. You see, if we found a support at that in that particular region, maybe we can go to the 63.50, and I believe we're gonna see some bearish traps and some bullish traps. You see stuff like that, some type of a shooting star over here, and so some type of doji. So maybe gonna have volatility here, and if we have volatility, so that's a sign that we have found a top, okay, a resistance. So that's it for the Nasdaq 100. Next, let's move on and let's have a look at the S&P 500. And over here, S&P 500. Okay, exactly the same thing as we saw earlier with the Dow Jones Industrial Average. You see now we are at 25.87, closer to 25.90 points. You see interaction with the 4 weeks moving average over here, and now exactly I'm expecting a sideways movement. You see that we have a lot of shadows, we have longer tails over here. See, trying to go lower, but we regain back momentum, we regain back that bullish momentum, a lot of buyers coming in, and now we are still above the 4 weeks moving average, but be cautious, okay? So I'm expecting a continuation, trying to reach the over here you can see 2600 points. So that's less than 15 points, exactly 12.16, and we're gonna be trading at 2600 points for the S&P 500. Okay, so that's it. Maybe that's a great target, but I expect market to find a top and to see a kind of sideways movement going trading in horizontal, going nowhere, and people starting to take some profits. So I'm expecting distribution and correction also. Okay, so that's it. Now let's have a look at VIX, the volatility index over here. And here volatility index remaining low. You see spikes last week over here, huge spikes, interaction with all the moving averages except for the 104, 8208 weeks moving average, and going back lower, even making new lows over here, close to 899, 99 as a max low. Yeah, closer to the all-time lows at 8.85. So the markets will remain bullish, but we need to expect some kind of volatility over here. Okay, so now sideways movements, and the market's going to remain in the lows over here. Okay, the VIX, excuse me, going to remain low. Okay, that's for VIX. Now let's have a look at the XIV. And XIV, yeah, XIV now moving sideways, as you can see here on the charts. And now what do we expect for next week? You see over here trying to go lower below the 4 weeks moving average, but regain buying momentum, coming back here. But now, as you can see here at the screen, we found a top, a resistance at $113, and I think that now we're gonna see a another type of moves. If you take a look at last week, bearish bar, huge movements towards the downside. Here, interaction with the 8 weeks moving average around the $100 over here. But then a lot of buyers coming in, and we remain solid at all-time highs here at the resistance. So now I'm expecting sideways movements to price to consolidate a little bit more, and maybe we can see interaction with the 8 weeks moving average over here around 150. So we have like $7 of volatility. So I'm expecting sideways movements. Okay. And now let's move on and let's have a look at small caps. Small caps. Okay, over here, that's your Russell 2000. And Russell 2000 going nowhere, exactly an entire month in sideways movements. Okay, as you can see over here. But take a look now. What do we have? Let's zoom in. Let's amplify it. Okay, so we can see that in details. You see over here we have a resistance now at 1520, and over here, what do we have over here? Now we have a close below the 4 weeks moving average, and you see interaction over here with the 8 weeks moving average, and take a look between 8 weeks moving average and 13 weeks moving average. That's a lot of volatility. Okay, so we have support around 1450, 1440, and that's it. As long as we remain above the upper half of that bullish candle over here, we're gonna remain bullish, so that's gonna be a bullish flag. But if we close lower, we're gonna be getting towards that particular, you see that's our trend line over here in green. That's your uptrending channel's resistance. So we're gonna retest that particular resistance, now becoming a support around the 1460, and that coincides with the 13 weeks moving average, you see in that projection of that particular moving average. Okay, so that's it. So I'm expecting more moves toward the downside, and maybe the Russell over here can play the role of a indicator for the rest of the stock market. So for the blue chips company, like companies, those members, those components of the S&P 500. So if the Russell 2000 is an indicator, and it's trending lower, it's going lower, so I'm expecting to see lower movements in the rest of the stock markets, and principally those companies of the S&P 500. Next, let's move on, and after the Russell 2000, yeah, now let's have a look at bonds, sovereign bonds. And first of all, let's begin with the 10-year Treasury notes, the TY over here, 10-year Treasury notes futures. As you can see, we are still going lower. Exactly the same pattern happening over here. You see a low spike over here. Remember, we have that pivot point over here that supports, and now we are trading lower. We were lower, trying to go lower. We gain back momentum, going back higher, a close above the 4 weeks moving average. But take a look over here, we have convergence between your 52 weeks moving average over here in pink and your 8 weeks moving average over here in blue. So that's given us a crucial point, a critical zone around the $125.50 for the 10-year Treasury bond. And also Take a look at that. We are in the lower half of that particular bearish candle over here, so we remain bearish. But let's see if we have a continuation next week. You see over here we had a continuation, but too much bearish pressure. But over here, if you have a continuation, let's say we can see something like that. So above that particular level, above $125.50, we can gain back momentum and going back higher. But let's see if that happens. Okay, and now remember, if you see a higher bond price, that means a lower yield percentage. Okay, so that's it. Now let's move on and let's have a look at the 30 years Treasury bonds. That's 30-year Treasury bonds is 30-year Treasury bonds. Yeah, that's it. And here exactly the same thing. You see supports, pivot point supports over here. Now we're back at that level. You see we have the 208 weeks moving average acting as a strong support over here. You see we have the 4 weeks moving average. Now we have a close above that 4 weeks moving average. You see that we've been trading in sideways since the end of September. You see over here going lower, 1 week to the downside, another week to the upside. You see over here bearish reversal candles, excuse me, to cancel that particular, to cancel the uptrend momentum. Now going back lower, finding support over here. So we have a bottom, same bottom as you see, same historical bottom over here at 150. And now going back higher. First of all, close above the 4 weeks moving average. Second, close above the 52 weeks moving average. And take a look over here. The 4 weeks moving average is going higher. So it's going to have a convergence with the 52 weeks moving average, and over here you see that's your 8 weeks moving average. So 3 moving averages having a convergence point around $153 for the 30-year Treasury bond futures. So what does it mean? That means that we're gonna have a continuation. Now we have a bullish outside candle and bullish power candle back at, you see the highs and the opening of that bearish candles over here, bearish candle, and now so above 154 if you have continuation. And take a look over here, what do we have at 154.40? We have the 13-week moving average in red and the 21 and 26 moving averages over here. So those 3 moving averages are acting as a strong resistance. So if the bond price can go higher and have a close around 155, 154, 60, 65, 70, that's going to be a great thing. And now we're going to go higher and retest that particular support trend line over here, now becoming a resistance. Okay, and then moving on towards the 158. Okay, so that's it. So I'm expecting a continuation, but we never know, because that zone over here is very, very critical. And I remember, if we have a rising bonds price, that means we have a for on the other side we have a lower bond yield. Okay, they are inverted. So now let's continue and let's have a look at the currency. And over here, that's your dollar index, DXY, DXY, the US dollar index. And remember, I told you I remain bullish on the US dollar, and that's it for macroeconomic and fundamental reasons. And you see that's playing out over here. Remember, I told you, if you see China remaining in a surplus, that means that China needs a weaker currency. China needs a weaker yuan, a weaker renminbi. Okay, and if you take a look at the currency pair, US dollar versus the Chinese yuan, you you know that now people are buying the US dollar and selling the Chinese yuan. People are buying the US dollar and selling the euro. So that currency pair euro dollar, that's a sell. We are selling the US dollar in order to buy, no, selling the euro in order to buy the US dollar. The US dollar, Japanese yen, we are buying the US dollar in order to sell the Japanese yen. Okay, so that's it. Now you see a stairs pattern taking place over here. You see close of the above the 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 13 weeks, 13 weeks now acting as a strong support. 208 weeks over here. Take a look, convergence between the 13 weeks and 8 weeks. Now convergence between 4 weeks and 21 weeks. And now over here in black we have your 26 week. Now a close above, trying to go back lower, but now we are above that particular level. A week with less volatility due to the central bank act and conferences and stuff like that. You see the BOE, the ECB, the Fed, and stuff like that. So and also the Mr. Powell nomination and stuff like that. So now we have free ride over here, and now I guess that my guess, and I think that we're gonna remain above 95 for the week, and we are going straight towards 96. You see we have nothing here in between. That's your 26 weeks moving average, and that's your 104, and that's your 52 weeks moving average. So now we're going back to the 52 weeks moving average region. So we're going back up towards the 98, 97.50, 98. Okay, that's your target. So what does it mean? It means that the euro dollar is going lower. We're going to see the euro trading below 1.50, going towards 1.12, include 1.11, 11 and 50. So we're going to see the euro dollar going lower. Okay, so that's it. And now let's have a look at commodities. And first of all, let's have a look at the euro dollar. Let's have a look at some major currency pairs. So you can see the points that I'm making. You see the dollar going up, and here you see the euro going down. You see euro, I told you euro, my target here is 1.1250 and stuff like that. Now my target is exactly over here, 1.11. Okay, and remember we have a gap over here, so we can see even the euro trading lower. We say now the euro dollar, we are gonna sell the euro and buy the dollar. Okay, so that's it for the euro dollar. Next one we're gonna do the US dollar Japanese yen. People are asking me why I'm looking at that, because I'm looking at that in a fundamental perspective, in a macroeconomic perspective. Why? Because when I see the economies, when I know the balance of trade for those countries, I know that in order to maintain that equilibrium, that balance, exporting countries who are producing and exporting goods, we have very strong industries, and that's the case for Europe, the Eurozone, with Germany and France leading. That's the case for China, and that's the case for Japan. They're all exporting goods towards the US, so they have to they need a weaker currency, and the US need a stronger currency in order to buy those goods. And you see over here we have a bottom over here, and now we are uptrending. You see we have a pivot point over here, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. So we have a multiple top over here, and so we need to have the Japanese yen above 140, 114.75, 150 yen over here. Need to be above that particular level. Take a look at all the moving averages acting as support and going up, pointing up. Okay, so that's it. Next, what do we have? The US dollar versus the Chinese yuan. And if you take a look at that, okay, you see here, boom, boom, boom. Okay, what do you see? You see that exactly the same thing. Let me come lower over here, and now I'm expecting the Japanese yuan, the Chinese yuan. You see over here, I was expecting that to go higher towards the 52 weeks moving average. You see here, I'm expecting first of all to go to 672 and then 675 and then 680. That's it. Okay, that's my target for that. And also take a look at that. We have a free trade over here. That's a cup and handle pattern. You see, I'm gonna do that particular point over here. That's your 50%, and now the second half of the cup. So we're going back here. So now we're gonna be uptrending from here. Okay, so that's it. And also if you take a look at that, and if I have something like that, you see, bam, 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 we are making lower highs. That's another lower high, and so we're gonna remain in that particular trend. Okay, here you can clearly see that. You see what I mean? Okay, that's just a huge movement. Remember the wars, the currency wars between the United States and stuff like that. Remember, I told you over and over again that President Donald J. Trump wants a weaker dollar in order to be competitive, to favorize the United States exports, the American exports, but that's not the case. You see, the other countries are too powerful in that particular area. So the US is going to remain managing their balance of trade with a deficit. And on the other hand, we have countries like China, you have the Eurozone and Japan managing a surplus. Okay, so that's it. That's it for your small macroeconomic class. And now let's move on. Let's have a look at commodities. First of all, energy. And over here, what do we have? We have oil. You see oil, and remember, we also have that head and shoulders pattern. That's our neck. You see, boom, over here above that particular level. That's it. Boom. First of all, we're gonna come here and maybe we can go much higher. See, we have levels over here. That's our level, 90 and $105. You see now oil is being trading much higher. You see everything's looking bullish here for oil. Remember, I told you that I was very bullish on oil. You see, I maintain my call, and my target is over here, $60 a barrel for oil. You see, we're making A, B, C, Ds. Every time we're making new highs, and we're making lower highs also, so that we are uptrending. We are in a strong trend, strong bullish trend for oil. And now next week, what I'm expecting to see a spike above 56 and 50. Take a look, we are too far from the 4 weeks moving average. We need an interaction so we can see some type of correction over here to interact with that particular moving average, the 4 weeks moving average and 8 weeks moving average. But take a look, we are already that's gonna take place around here, around 53.50, above 52, between 53.50 and 52.50. Okay, that's it. And then bounce from there, and then boom, going back higher and be consolidated above $55 and $56, next 58, and then reaching $60. That's my target. Okay, and also over here you can appreciate a head over here, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Okay, let me draw that for you. So that's boom, boom, and boom. Okay, like that. And here, boom, from here we go higher. Now I'm expecting this and go to that region. Okay, so that's it. So on the technicals and on the fundamental side, we have everything is looking bullish for oil, so we remain bullish. Remember, we're gonna have some type of correction all around the road, but in the bigger picture, we remain bullish on oil. Now let's have a look at precious metals, and let's begin with gold futures. Gold futures over here, and gold, as you can see, 50% retracement, a little bit below that. That's particular pivot point resistance region over here. Now support, you see spikes, that's a tweezer bottom. You see that the 21 and 26 weeks moving averages acting as support. Also take a look over here, we are at the channel's support. Now we're gonna bounce from here and going higher. First attempt over here was crashed, was rejected, and now we are here, but we are still above the now we are below the 4 weeks moving average, so we need to come back over here. And my guess is I guess that we're gonna see we have great probabilities of seeing sideways movements, accumulation phase over here, a lot of concentration, and next, boom, next thing you know, we're gonna go back higher. Over here you see we have a free trade now, but we need a continuation above that particular level. You see over here we have a range between $12.70 and $1300 for the an ounce, for a gold ounce. So now I'm expecting sideways movements. Okay, so that's it for gold. Expect sideways movement and then confirmation with a green bar above those levels. See over here we have a strong convergence points over here, sideways movements, and then we need a similar a bar similar to that one over here with continuation. Okay, now let's have a look at silver. Silver over here, and what's happening with silver. Silver, same type of scenario, but you see over here also, but now silver, I'm seeing other stuffs over here, and let me explain why. Here with silver I'm seeing a, oh no, that wasn't what I wanted. I wanted this to be cloned. Okay, and with silver I'm seeing this. Okay, now we are trying to do that, but also take a look, we have lower highs, boom boom over here, so we are starting to going up, and we see a uptrend formation, but you see we have rejection, all the moving averages over here, and we have that huge trend line. Let me amplify so you see exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that. You see over here, downtrend channel, resistance, support, resistance, boom boom boom, resistance over here. In the midterm, that's a head and shoulders also, and over here if we can do that, next thing you know we can go higher. And let me amplify a little bit. Okay, and hopla, no, this stays there, and okay, excuse me, a lot of I have a lot of stuffs over here. You see, we need that particular movement over here. You see, boom, going back towards the resistance, but it seems that it's being rejected completely now. All that movement being wasted, and now we're trying to go lower, but we're still in an inside weak candle, and now I'm expecting to see sideways movements. That's it, you see. But if we go lower, you see that particular channel, downtrend channel here in dotted red dotted trend line over here, so we can come and retest the 1580, and that's gonna be a B, C, and a D to the downside. Okay, so that's it. So silver still in an inside weak candle, third a month of sideways movements, support at 1685, resistance at 1755, and that's it. Take a look, 208 weeks moving average as a resistance, and over here that's your all the rest of the moving averages acting as acting as a support. Okay, so we are going nowhere, sideways movements. I'm expecting and waiting for a direction. So now that's it for the precious metals, and now let's enter the cryptocurrency space. And remember, we saw a great huge move with Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin above $7,000. Remember, over here I had my particular projection. You see over here, my first projection was 6,200, and my max projection was over here $7,500. You see, because of what? Because of that particular uptrend channel over here. And it seems to me that the Bitcoin forgets people are trying to inflate price, push prices much higher, and no one is taking profits. You see over here, distributions, correction, no one, you see no correction. Me, first of all, I was expecting a correction over here, and from there bounce over here at that particular region, $5,000 is going to be more healthy, and from there going back higher. But no, directly from $6,000, boom, going back more, getting back a strong push towards the upside. And now we have a top at 75, 74, and 77, $7,400 over here, close to $7,500. And that's a huge move. But now I'm seriously expecting some kind of a correction, some kind of distribution, people taking profits, because that's too much. That's a long ride over here, too much extension, and we are far from the 4 weeks moving average, and we need interaction. So so remember, those moving averages are attracting price, the price. And you see, take a look over here, we have 6,600, 67, 6,600. So now maybe we can go a little bit lower. You see that already took place over here. So me, I already have short in place. You see over here above 75.50. I'm going towards the upsides, towards 8,000. 8,000, and below that particular level, below 7,200, 71.50, 7,000, going lower, and first of all towards $6,700. Okay, but for now, expect sideways movements. And remember, big move. The move that happened was a CME announcements to launch a derivatives, a futures contract for the Bitcoin. Okay, so now let's have a look. First of all, before going back a bit and before talking more about the cryptos, let's come here at the worldcoinindex.com, and let's have a look at the crypto ranking. Number one, Bitcoin. You see now market cap above $125 billion. Number two, Bitcoin Cash. Also great move, great momentum, great bullish momentum for the Bitcoin Cash. And a lot of people are talking about the surge in Bitcoin prices and Bitcoin Cash being contaminated by that euphoria, by that greed, and also seeing the Bitcoin Cash prices are surging also. Number three, Ethereum. Number four, Ethereum Classic. Ethereum is struggling to pass above $300, and you see sideways movements and no momentum, no nothing, and that's it. Number four, Ethereum Classic. Number five, Litecoin. Number six, Quantum. Number seven, Ripple. Number eight, Zcash. Number nine, Dash. Number 10, EOS, and number 11, Vcash. And remember, on November the 16th, we're gonna have another fork, another hard fork, that's gonna we're gonna see now the SegWit 2x tokens being released. And also, what do we have over here now? Since October the 5th to October the 7th, we have Bitcoin Gold over here, close to at number 29. And what do we have over here? Prices at below $170, sideways movements, and that's far away. You see today rising more than 10%, but that's not enough to be playing in the top 10. Okay, so now let's have a look at the crypto maps. to have an overall picture of the total market cap for all the cryptos. That's more than 200 billion US dollars. So that's huge, that's big. And you see that's the 24-hour last 24 hours performance. But now let's have a look at the weekly performance to see exactly the big picture over here. You see Bitcoin huge rise in prices. You have also Bitcoin Cash over here, Ethereum, Neo, and stuff like that. Everything in red, but the Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash price surging and going much higher. So that's it. Now let's go back and let's analyze more cryptos. We've done Bitcoin. Now let's have a look at the ETF GBTC. I was covering that one yesterday, and also as you can see now GBTC gaining strong momentum. The ETF finally following the price action of the Bitcoin, and also you see great move in Bitcoin, great move in GBTC. Now GBTC going back towards $1,000. So let's see next week. We have the pointer over here pointing towards 1052 and $1,100. So that's it. A huge momentum. GBTC going higher. Now let's have a look at BCH, at Bitcoin Cash versus the US dollar. Okay, over here. Price is provided by Bitfinex, and over here what do we have? You see inside week candle. You see for almost 3 months. You see September, October, yeah, from August, September, October, and now November. We still over here now the opening. You see huge rise. We are flirting with the $700. Upper half of that bullish candle over here above the 4 weeks, 8 weeks, and 13 weeks moving average. So people are taking profits. Maybe you're gonna retest the $500 over here, and then from there bounce and going higher. Remember over here, what are we seeing? That's another cup and handle. We are here at the 50% of that particular cup, and that's it. So max target $750. The pointer over here pointing towards 975 US dollars. So that's it. So Bitcoin Cash is in a strong bullish momentum. Next, let's continue. Ethereum. Told you Ethereum is doing nothing, and that's it over here. What can we see? You see strong bullish flag. You see over here in red, that's your uptrending bullish channel, resistance. Now we are at support, below the support. Inside week candle in the lower half of that particular bearish candle over here, going nowhere. You see over here convergence and sideways movements. All the major moving averages over here going sideways, going horizontal. So we are stuck between 310 as resistance and 275 as support. Also the 21 and 26 weeks moving averages acting as support, but we see a we are going nowhere, excuse me, and that's a ascending triangle and a multiple top over here. So that's it. We are struggling to go much higher, but the momentum is still higher, but we need to see prices above $300. Next, let's have a look at Dash versus the US dollar. Where are you? Okay, finally. So that's Dash. Exact same scenario as we saw just earlier with the Ethereum prices and price action. Exactly the same thing. Inside week candle for the third week in a row. You see stuck between moving averages. You see over here 13, 8 weeks. That's your 4 weeks. That's your 21 weeks, and that's it. Also a triangle over here, but that's a descending triangle. Now we are at support, and that's a bullish flag. Let me explain that to you. That's a very, very bullish movement, and that's it. You see the flag over here. That's our A, that's our B, That's our C zone, and next over here going back towards resistance and then going much higher to found a D. So we remain very bullish over here. We are uptrending, okay, but we are struggling. That's a very critical zone over here, so we need a strong bullish momentum, a lot of power, a lot of buyers jumping in order to see prices surging and going higher. Okay, so that's Dash. Now let's have a look at Litecoin. And Litecoin, what do we have? Litecoin versus the US dollar over here. And what do we have over here? You see, still in that uptrending channel, still in that step stairs pattern, uptrending step stairs pattern, but you see here huge dive, you see huge dip over here. That's a huge correction, people taking profits. You see over here that particular step over here, that's sideways movements, long term sideways movement. You see still in the upper half of that particular bullish candle over here. That's our resistance, a one step over here. Now that particular step, that particular resistance now acting as a support. We have a downtrend triangle over here, break above that, but now sideways movement, and inside week candle also for 1 2 3 4 1 month of inside week candle. And now we are opening over here for the week beginning on Monday, November the 6th, and that's it. We have a doji over here, so I hope to see some type of we need a catalyst, a strong catalyst in order to get out, and I need to see that close above that particular level. And as you can see, that's an accumulation phase, so that's a good time to be accumulating prices. But be careful, because over here that particular bearish candle and that pointer is pointing towards the $30 price range. And over here, what do we have? We have the 52 weeks moving average over here. So I need confirmation, I need strong confirmation, so in order to see the direction. Okay, so I need confirmation in order and direction, and I'll know if I have to short Litecoin or if I have to buy Litecoin. Okay, so full disclosure, I'm only speculating on those cryptos. I don't own any. I own a little bit of Bitcoin and a little bit of Ethereum in my blockchain wallet, and also with Rarex, and that's it. But all the activity I have involving cryptos are exclusively in speculation. Okay, so now let's move on and let's take a look at IOTA versus the US dollar. Okay, exactly the same thing as we saw earlier with the Bitcoin Cash. Remember, gaining back great momentum, and then boom, going back lower, huge distribution. You see A, B, C, D going down. Over here we have found a bottom at 34 cents of a dollar, and now we need a close above the 4 weeks moving average in order to gain back momentum towards the 8 weeks, 13 weeks, and going back higher. You see the pivot point over here, pivot point region, support and resistance. First support, now resistance over here at 50 cents. Next, second resistance at 62 cents, and then the higher resistance at $1 and $1.10. Okay, so that's it. So IOTA going sideways, we need direction and we need a buying confirmation. And now let's finish with Ripple versus the US dollar over here. And Ripple, what can we see? Exactly the same thing, sideways movement. Take a look at that strong doji candle over here below the 4 weeks moving average and pointing down. We are uptrending, as you can see, uptrending over here, lower high, another lower high, stuck in here, lower half of that particular bearish candle, but still in a ABCD. You see that one's going to take a little bit longer, and in a huge cup and handle. You see first targets, second target, and that's it. We are uptrending, and take that as a huge and great accumulation phase and a great opportunity to be stacking and accumulating Ripple at below 20 cents of a dollar. Okay. But me also, don't own any Ripple. I'm only trading a Ripple and speculating, and I can also do holdings with my CFD accounts, my derivatives accounts. Here in Europe we have that opportunity also. Okay, so people, thank you very much. That's it for time to trade the markets. Or we did a combine between the stock market and the crypto space. So you can follow me and find me over here at www.jctrim.com, and over here in order to send me some message over here, and that's a phone number for WhatsApp and Viber and also Facebook Messenger. And you already know that I'm offering financial services. I'm a consultant. I'm a introducer broker. I'm also working in the investment investment side of things with gold and silver and stuff like that. So you already know you have all the information over here at www.jctrim.com. And once more, have a great week, have a great trading week, make money and take profits. And I'll see you next week. Bye bye.